What is up, LEG Show fam? Welcome back to another track of the pod. This podcast lives at the intersection of movement and mindset, and today we are diving so deep into the world of endurance with someone who's been making serious waves in the ultra running community the last few months, last few years, and I have a feeling he will be making waves for a very, very long time to come. Today's guest is Vin Kennedy, a New Jersey native, shout out New Jersey, whose running resume includes everything from running across New Jersey to tackling 200-mile races in Florida, and most recently winning New York City's $1 Ultra. In this episode, we talk about how running became such a huge part of his life, the lessons he's learned through some pretty wild endurance challenges, and what it takes to keep showing up day after day, and of course, the incredible story behind his win at the $1 Ultra. Whether you're training for your next race or just love hearing stories about people pushing their limits, I think you are going to absolutely love this one just as much as I did. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Vin Kennedy. All right, everybody, I am sitting here today with Vin Kennedy. Vin, welcome to the LEG Show. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
Of course. Well, before we get into all of the wild running stories that you have to share, I personally can't wait to hear so many of them. For people who don't know you, who is Vin Kennedy? Where are you from? What do you do? And,
Yeah,
who are you?
it's a great question. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm from like down the Jersey Shore area. There's this whole debate about Central Jersey and whatnot, but I will spare you the details. But yeah, I'm definitely like family oriented. I'm a runner, recently engaged, and
Congrats.
work a 9 to 5. But if you ask me personally, like running is my thing.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like running is my second full-time job. That's at least what I always say to people when they ask me what I do outside of work. I'm
Yeah,
like, I just run all the time. I love it. I love it. That's so cool. Well, congrats on being recently engaged. And it's awesome that you're from Jersey because I'm also from Jersey and I think Jersey's the coolest place ever. So
me
everybody
too.
will come for me with that on the pod. So I'm ready for it.
I mean,
um,
I have no leg to like stand on there. I have I'm sure people, whoever was following the $1 Ultra, I've literally have New Jersey tatted on my side.
Yeah, it's about time I get it, honestly. So let's take it back to the beginning. I want to start before the ultras, before the 100 milers, the 200 milers, the run across Jersey, before any of that. When did running become part of your life?
Yeah, I would say like 4 years ago. Personally, I think I was just one of those guys that got stuck in that routine of like going out on the weekends and enjoying myself. And I would say I definitely took it too far. I mean, I was like a weekend warrior, for lack of a better term, but I would drink, Friday, Saturday, the occasional Sunday softball league. And then COVID really like kind of struck a chord for me, but I didn't yet find running. Like through COVID, I kind of, it's crazy, but I got like as lean as I possibly can, which was awesome. But I was totally into like selfish reasoning almost. It was just like, I want to look as great as I could look. I don't care about what happens to my body in the process. And then, I mean, randomly, I would just pop out and do like crazy things that I now knowing, and I know running, like I did not have a base for. Like I would pop
Hmm.
out and run a half marathon and just like die doing it. I popped out and did like a 70.3 for fun, like do it yourself, and like struggled like so hard. But like I did these things and like, it helped with confidence. And then I think after COVID, the world opened up. I kind of fell back into old habits of like going out for that one summer. And then I just like flipped the switch and I was like lifting at a buddy's house who was really into bodybuilding. That was kind of where all this even started, which is, I mean, you look at me now, I'm not a bodybuilder. Even then, I was not a bodybuilder, but I definitely had more size to me. And I was like, you know what? Why not just give this like bodybuilding show thing a try? So
Hmm.
did a 16-week prep that helped me with like the discipline, consistency that obviously we know with running. And I did a show and stepped on stage and I was super uncomfortable. And outside of the show, I was talking to my little sister in the car and I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be here, but like if I don't find something else, I don't know. Like I'll probably revert back to my old ways. So I signed up for a marathon, which I ran one during COVID, but again, it was like and everybody is time specific. Like hard is so relative, but to me, I ran like a 4 hour and 30 minute marathon, which like date back to my actual first marathon that I prepped for.
Hmm.
I felt like way below where I could have been. But yeah, so I was like, what'll make this harder? So I looked up a marathon in Colorado called the Boulderthon, and that was my first marathon. Got a coach, and I literally have not stopped running since.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And what year was that?
That was 2022, 2023.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you're still on the move. And that was at altitude too. I'm sure did that like present a challenge for you, or were you
Oh
like
yeah, I
so
got
prepared? Yeah.
crushed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I worked with Jeff Cunningham, who is actually, I think he still is, Nick Bear's running coach, marathon
Hmm.
coach, and he was great. And at the time, like, you spoke directly with him, so like for me that was a huge, like, just he opened my eyes to, like, I didn't know any of this. I mean, I still don't know a ton of this, but he really opened my eyes, and he even mentioned sub 3 mid prep, and I was like, I'm the kind of person that's like, you throw that in my mind and it's like, why can't I do that now? And he was like,
I
he's like,
know.
I'm telling you, you will not sub 3 in Colorado. You are from New Jersey. And it was like 900 feet of gain. And it's funny too, like, how we look back on our first marathons. I'm sure you have a similar story. Like, I ran a 3:21, but to me,
Mhm.
I bonked at mile 20. It was like the worst race. I was like, this sucks. Like, I'll never run another marathon. And then I look back now and I'm like, I ran a 3:21. Like, that's a pretty good first marathon.
For the first, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah. But yeah, that's really how
That's
it all started.
that is so so crazy. And okay, so I'm gonna fast forward to now. You have not stopped running ever since then. What
Yeah.
keeps you going?
I'm like dangerously consistent. I will like,
Yeah.
I have a ton of flaws, but I'm really good at starting something and not stopping. My issue is I will not redefine that thing. Like, I had a
Mhm.
podcast for 2 years. I did 100 episodes. From episode 1 to 100, I probably didn't get better. Like, I might have
Okay, I'm sure
at
you
the
got better,
beginning,
but
but you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, I didn't do anything to
Yeah.
really change it. It was
Yeah.
kind of the same structure, same thing. That's kind of how, unfortunately, I am with running. I will say I've definitely made adaptations along the way.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it just makes me a better person. Like, I've had, even post race sometimes, you have like those lows, and it's like you have such a high event and such a great time and moment and memories with people. And then you like come back to life, and it's like, maybe I'll start, my diet slips a little bit, and because I'm
Mhm.
not running. And like these things, like it just holds me so accountable. Yeah. It's like a daily dopamine hit that if I could run injury free for the rest of my life, like that would be my one genie wish.
Me too. I'm so
Yeah.
with you on that. It's
Oh
funny.
God.
I'm like the one in the friend group that's always like, yeah, sure, I'll come to whatever we're doing on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. But like first I'm gonna go run 17 miles. And then I'll be the
Yeah.
one that shows up and they're like, aren't you tired? And I'm like, honestly, it's not that bad. Like I just do it every
No,
Saturday. So
absolutely.
you just get in this groove and I'm so with you. I'm the kind of person that like if it's not on my calendar, I can't envision how to get there, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I need it set in stone and then I'm like, okay, I have X, Y, and Z months, days, whatever the amount of time is. But like I just need it on the calendar to be able to work through it or work to toward it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been my whole like race resume, honestly.
Yeah. I think a lot of us runners share that a similar thought. I would love to talk to you about your run across New Jersey, your
Yep.
200-mile, I want to say quest around Florida. And then, of course, we got to wrap it up with the $1 Ultra. So, yeah,
Of course.
give it all to me. Where did you start?
Yes. So, like I mentioned, like, huge fan of the Jersey Shores, primarily like the Asbury Boardwalk all the way down to Seagirt. And
Hmm.
I met two friends at the time. One of them was gearing up for 100 miles. I was like, I was only running marathons. I was like, people don't do that. Like, David Goggins does that.
Yeah.
Nobody runs 100
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah.
And we had the conversation, ended up pacing him with another buddy. And we all just kind of really hit it off. I paced like, I don't know, 30 something miles. And I was like, it like opened my eyes. It really did. And I'm sure we all have that same
Hmm.
experience. Like, and that's why I love bringing people along to my races, because it changes things for people, and in
Yeah.
a better way. Yeah. So me and those two friends ended up like moving in together, and we ran down the Jersey Shore like almost every single weekend. And it slowly became this thing where like it went from a half marathon every weekend to like 2024, me and one buddy specifically, his name's Greg Gamble. We probably ran from a marathon up to a 50 miler every single Saturday. I think we might have missed like 4 weeks. Like
That's insane in the
that
best
was
way.
like, yeah. I mean, but it was, you know what it is? It's like, obviously you're running an easy pace. You're not, everybody's like, how do you run a marathon every weekend? And it's like, because I'm not breaking myself down to do it. I'm doing it easy pace.
Right.
I'm being conservative. And obviously I'm fueling. And then, yeah, that was a huge part of like just me as a whole building base. And we'd have friends tag in all the time. It was amazing. But me and Greg ended up running to Jersey together. So we ran. we came about the idea from Cole Crosby. I actually heard him
Mhm.
on a podcast and he mentioned it. And again, once I like kind of get something in my head, I'm like, I could do that.
Yep.
And again, throw it on the calendar and it's like we'll figure it out. So the year that we did that was not last year, the year prior. So 20, is that four? Yeah, 2024. Um, and that year for me was kind of insane. I didn't really prep for the Jersey run, and I know how that sounds, but we did those long runs every single weekend. I knew we
Hmm.
were kind of doing it easy paced. But I did an Ironman in July, and then the next weekend I did a 12-hour race, which I did fairly well at. And then I just knew that this was coming up in, I believe we did it in September, the end of
Okay.
September. So my prep was kind of like thrown together, but I was definitely running volume.
For sure.
So we reached out to a couple people. We actually raised some money for addiction and recovery. It's near and dear to my buddy Greg's heart. He lost a buddy, so it was kind of cool to have the run mean something.
Hmm.
He also owns one of those or did own one of those vans that like a van life van, like with like beds in it and whatever, and that's kind of what crewed us, which was awesome.
That's so sick.
Um, it was incredible. So a bunch of people came along. We started at High Point State Park, so we ran from top to bottom, and we ended at the Cape May Lighthouse. It was fun. It was definitely sketchy, and then I have just like learned a ton. So we did it almost as like a stage race. We probably ran between 67 to 69 miles a day, three
Hmm.
days. So we ran Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And yeah, I mean, we slept probably like 4 or 5 hours a night, and it was eventful. That's for sure.
Wow. How do you even like mentally prepare for that? I feel like once I have the course, I'm good. Obviously, you encounter the sketchiness and different parts and different terrains and things like that. But how do you like mentally prepare to move for that many days in a row, but also like be in a van at some points? And like, just how do you mentally prepare for it all?
We ended up grabbing hotels just because I knew like sleep wise we're gonna need like
Yeah,
actual
smart.
beds.
Hmm.
But I have to be honest, like that's also I think one of my superpowers. It definitely gets me sometimes, but I'm like crazy naive. I'm like, oh, I was like the first day is gonna be a breeze. Like I could run 60, 70 miles. And I was like, second day we'll just figure it out. And the third day we'll just figure it out. But like that's
Yeah.
one of my things where like I'm very good at being like, oh, I could do that. And then when it comes to like the real logistics, that's why I have a lot of my crew is like the people that like actually plan things. I'd rather just do the thing and kind of like learn as I go. And I'm telling you, I have learned really tough lessons doing that, but it's also played to my advantage for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to learn, right? Like I would die without my crew and my sister especially because she is the very logistical sister and I am the very like I'm just going to show up and figure out what to do next. Obviously,
Yeah, of
mileage aside and preparation aside, like on the physical side
course.
and the running side, but like just showing up and then figuring out how to do it is when I learned the most. Like I
Yeah,
did my first ultra last year and I saw the course record. It was called the Loopy Looper. It was in New Jersey, in South
yeah,
Jersey.
very familiar.
Yeah, of course, of course. I should have known. And I saw the course record for women and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to tie it. Like, I know I could tie it. Right. And like
Yeah,
part of it is being naive, but then I tied it because I just figured it out and I had bad laps and I knew nothing. Like my coaches had this huge strategy session with me and they were like, this is what you're going to eat when. And they're doing math and counting carbs. And I'm like, wow. When I finished the race, I'm like, I would have quite literally died, you guys.
yeah,
But you learn so much about yourself, and
yeah,
that's what it's about. It's all about the process. It's
absolutely.
crazy.
And
It's so
that is one
crazy.
of my favorite races. That's actually a 12-hour race I had. And I had a bunch of friends do it last year.
That's so cool. I kind of want to do it again.
Yeah, it's great. I'll probably be there again. We have a couple friends doing the 100 this year.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's and like you said, honestly, like that was kind of like the realization for me that like, I've always thought of this since then. Like, if I could do that, run like 3 days in a row, 69 miles a day, like you can always run tired. Like, there's a difference between injured and tired. Like, you can
Yes.
always run tired and sore. Like, that is something
Hmm.
I preach to myself all the time. I definitely get myself hurt because of it and have got myself hurt because of it. I'm 31 now, so I'm getting a little smarter as I get older, only because I know at some point I'm going to just absolutely break down if I'm not smart. But that was the event that I will say single handedly. Like, if I don't do that, I don't finish the run across Florida. Like, I probably don't continue
Hmm.
in the $1 ultra. Like, it's just these events build confidence and they stack proof of like you are who you say you are.
Oh, 100%. And it really does stack confidence because it's like when I'm feeling not great during a long run and like some, you know how it is as a runner, like sometimes I'll have like 14 miles and I'm like looking at it, saying to myself, I've done so much more for a training run. I've done a marathon for a training run, right? Especially if you're training for an ultra and you've done
Right.
like a marathon one day and then another marathon the next day because you have all these back to backs. But like sometimes when I'm having a really rough run, I'm like, okay, wait, that loopy looper race kind of like resets me because it's true. It builds the confidence, and you're like, oh, I had quite the time at that race. And if I can make it through that and as many miles as I did, then like certainly I can make it through 14 miles, you know, and it's
And,
just all this game, this mental game.
and like you said though too, I mean, there's some days that like a 6 mile run is like that's all I had that day. Like there is
Yeah.
no, and it's just how it goes. Some days aren't the day.
So then you did that race and you did the Jersey run. And then where did you go from there? Were you thinking of the next event? Like, were you thinking about, I'm assuming it was the Florida 200 miles?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I think honestly, Florida might have been next. I dealt with injuries. I was honestly, I was trying to go back to marathons. So I sub 3 and BQ'd the year you really needed like a 254. I ran a 258.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing was like, oh, I need to actually get to Boston. Like I qualified, but that year I knew I wasn't going to get in because of the cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of tried to go back and then ended up like messing up my hip, which ended up like being like a couple month issue. So Florida was like a big comeback for me. Oh, that's right. Actually, before Florida, I did a last man. I
Oh,
went
wow.
in
Okay.
sleep deprived, which I just couldn't get off work. And it's not an excuse. Like I also just didn't have it that day. I was on like 4 or 5 hours sleep. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons I learned going into the $1, where it's like sleep leading up and not just the night before matters so much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in some of these, like the $1, like I think I closed my eyes for like 10 minutes max. Yeah,
Crazy.
they're that's a whole nother. We'll get into it. But
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
But yeah, it was I did that last man. I came in second. I think I ran like 108, 104 on paper and I
Wow.
was like hallucinating, but we were only like 26, 25 hours in and like I shouldn't have been at that point. I was just overtired. Couldn't get off work. It
Mm-hmm.
happened to be upstate New York, had to drive up. It was just really poor planning on my part. Like I didn't take it as serious as I needed to.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, so then after that, I started building for Florida. And again, like in this time, even still, I'm about to start it up, but I've like avoided speed work, which is like not good. But that's a whole nother me issue. But yeah, I just knew like if I just stack miles, I know I could do 200. My big thing
Mm-hmm.
is a big goal of mine is to do Moab and do it competitively.
Be
I'm
amazing.
not sure. I'm not sure if you've looked at these like registration fees, like
Yeah, it's
to
insane.
right. Like I was working on an engagement ring and now I'm working on a wedding. I'm like, it's just not the time for Moab.
Yeah.
But that's like a big goal. So I was like, let me find another 200 that'll pop up. And I came across Florida, which like it's a cheaper 200. So I was like, why not? And I love Florida. I love warm weather. So I was like, why not? So yeah, I built up to that. And then a few weeks out, I think I aggravated my hip, so I took like a week off and I was like kind of frustrated. And then I got back in training, felt okay enough to do it. And then probably like 2 weeks right before the race, I realized like somebody teased something that David Goggins signed up for another 200. So that right there was like a huge moment for me because like I'm sure like most of us, like I read his books. This really was
Mm-hmm.
like a huge inspiration to me. So like being able to race him was like, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's so
So
cool.
yeah, so that was really like the lead up to that.
That is really, really awesome. And how did that one go? Like when you were actually doing it, do you have any standout moments where you're like, this was really great and then this really sucked? Like
Yeah.
what were your highs and lows?
I will honestly say, and I've raced a lot. That was the worst race I've ever had in my whole entire life. And like but the saving grace there is like I came in fourth. Like it was kind of competitive,
That's amazing. Holy
but
cow.
like I personally like my stomach went at like a marathon mark.
Hmm.
Um, I was like I remember being a mile like 50 or 60, and I was like just not my day. I was like maybe I'll finish it, and then something turned around overnight, and then next morning, which like to anybody who ever does a 200 miler, like it does not start until the second night. I did not know this. I thought like let me start getting competitive when I feel good. I pushed way too hard the first morning. I probably ran like a 4 hour and 15-minute marathon. That was like the segment we had.
Hmm.
Really dumb. I was like over 100 miles in finishing that, and I completely wiped myself out and completely messed up my tibialis. So that was a high because that part was fun. And it's so funny like how it goes because I had four pacers or yeah, four pacers, and like one buddy had me at my lows both times, and I felt so bad.
No.
I was just miserable, and I'm not like someone like you won't even like hear it from me. You just won't. I won't talk.
Same.
And that's not like me. Like I'm usually like very like bubbly and like outgoing, and I'm having a good time. But it's just so funny how that works. Like one buddy had me at my best times, one had me at my worst, and it's just like how it goes. But yeah, I mean that was kind of fun too. Like even in the beginning, even when I was going through stuff, because it's like David Goggins was in the race of the first 50 miles, so it was like
Hmm.
even being near him was just like kind of like an energy boost almost because like I knew what it meant to me, and I know what it means to other people. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely a high. And then a low was I basically had to hike the last like 38 miles because my tibialis, like I could barely walk on it, let alone run. So, but you're already 160 miles in. I'm like, what am I? I'm not going to quit
Yeah.
now.
No, you can't. You
So,
can't. I would
yeah,
crawl before I
exactly.
quit at that point.
Yeah,
How did you fuel for
exactly.
those? Like, did your crew carry it? What were you carrying it? Were there aid stations? Like, what was the situation? And what were you
So there were aid
actually
stations.
fueling with? I love
Yeah.
hearing
So
this.
that's another big issue of mine, and I'm still like sorting through that. I think I'm finally getting it under wraps now. But all of those like marathons to 50 milers that I did with my buddy in 2024, I would eat like protein bars and protein pop tarts. Like I didn't think of this was before the whole like carb craze, which is definitely a thing. Like it works, but I was just eating like I was just like I need some calories. So in that, I stopped and rested way too much just because mentally I was going through it like way sooner than I thought I would have.
Hmm.
And I would literally eat, it's funny, but I would eat a whole Wawa sub, which if you're from New Jersey, you know that.
Of
And
course.
then it was great. And then I would do raw fuel, which is
Okay.
their carb mix,
Hmm.
which is funny because fast forward to the $1 ultra, and at the end, the raw fuel like was jacking my stomach up. So it's
Yeah.
funny sometimes like what works and what doesn't. But what actually messed me up was those precision chews. I've never eaten more than like three of them on a run,
Hmm. Hmm.
and some reason precision gels and chews, like I don't know if there's more sodium in them or not enough, but I sweat and like you could see sweat stains, and that's not normal for me. And I started
Hmm.
to see that when I started to like bonk around a marathon for the 200 miler. So that was kind of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a, and this is no shade to Precision because I really like their gels. I usually use Salt Stick and I took one of their sodium tabs during the
Mhm.
United Half and I thought I was going to die. I'm like, my stomach is going and I never have that issue. Why am I doing this to myself? But again, you
Yeah.
never know until you try it, I guess, right?
You really don't. And I think like that's one thing that I definitely need to do myself. And I would say like, everybody's on this craze of like VO2 max testing and
Mhm.
lactate threshold. Like if you're an ultra runner, you should get your salt tested
Mhm.
because then
Agreed.
you know what to actually put in your body. I think it's a huge advantage, which is I still am yet to do it, but I have to get around
Yeah.
to it.
I did it a few years ago. I need to do it again. I've tried using those patch ones, but they don't work as well. Like for anybody listening, you should get
Yeah,
like a legit sweat test. I think it was one of the best things I ever did. And it'd be cool to compare like
yeah, definitely.
now
See what
versus
you
then. For
Yeah,
sure. Long awaited topic of the $1 Ultra. I could
yeah.
not wait to talk to you about this because you obviously crushed it. Um, it was 137.6
I
miles.
think on yeah, like as for the race, and then obviously our watches are always longer. I think like actually for last man's, I think it's 136 point something, but my watch is like 143, so it doesn't.
Wow. All right, we'll take the 143. We'll take the higher one. That's
Yeah, right.
awesome. 30 was it 30 33 laps, right? I
32
think
laps.
if I got that correct.
Yeah,
That is insane. So you not only did that, but you won the entire $1 Ultra. Tell me about all of it.
yeah. I mean, leading in, I have it's so funny. Like my A race this year is the Miami 100. I'm building for Badwater, so I'm trying to
Mhm.
stack 100 milers. So like realistically, like the $1 ultra like is not even on ultra sign up. It doesn't even like count towards anything of that. But I was like, I saw it last year and I was like, I got to give this a try. Like I love running in the city. I work in the city and I love the busyness of like Manhattan streets and
Mhm.
cars and bike lanes. And I was like, this is so up my
Yeah.
alley. But I'll be honest, like the more information, because they kind of were like slowly giving us information, the more information they were giving, I was kind of getting like a little discouraged just because, like, and this is not a knock to them, like they're doing what they have to. It's in New York City. I totally understand that. But it felt like I don't know what this is going to be. Like, this is not your standard. You're in the woods running a 4.2 mile loop. You know exactly what every loop's going to be. You know the elevation, you don't have to deal with cars and the Knicks winning the championship
Yeah,
and FIFA. Like,
it's crazy.
so the more I started to think about it, I was like, this is going to be like a shit show. Sorry for my language, but I was like, this is going to be
Oh,
crazy.
please.
And, and we, yeah, so the morning of, they dropped the route. And this, I'm like one of those people, and I don't say it in like an arrogant way, but like I've signed up for very little things without thinking I'm going to win. And it's sometimes delusional self belief, and sometimes it works out.
Yeah, I get that.
It's kind of how it goes. Yeah. So I was kind of like putting that on social media, and the best part is like I'm from New Jersey. I know New York runners, um, but like I'm sure a ton of people there had no idea who I was, and I love that. Like I think that's cool. Where it's like I wouldn't even say like an underdog, but it's like there were people that were brought into this race that I know now were like literally brought in to win this race and make it go
Right,
far.
right.
I was not one of those people. So like I love that. And a lot those guys are savages in their own right for sure. But yeah, so the morning of, they drop. So basically, obviously, it's not your standard last man. They dropped the checkpoint, which was in the boathouse of Central Park.
Hmm.
So the fastest route to every checkpoint they were going to give us is, I guess, 2.05, roughly around there, to kind of get you to the 4.2. Early on, we get in there and we start setting up, and like we're in a bar on 40th and 7th Street called Printer's Alley. So to get to Central Park, you're going through Times Square. So
Right.
like right away, like I got excited. I know that's craziness and mayhem, but I was like, this is awesome. So I'm literally set up in like a booth in a bar. All my
Hmm.
stuff's on the table. I was just gonna lay back and put my feet up every lap. And it's kind of like how I did it in my last one. And I was like, all right, this is kind of gonna be our day. And then as the day kind of unfolded, they kind of mentioned like, hey, when the Knicks play, we're getting kicked out of the bar for a couple hours. And there was a lot of twists and turns that we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, early on, I felt really good. I knew I had two people staying with me for the full duration of whatever it was going to take. So that
Hmm.
was nice. And then I had a bunch of friends pop in and out. And something I've been thinking about too is like I knew my fiance was coming Sunday at some point. So I
Hmm.
was like, oh, it's like a nice thing to look forward to. So yeah, so the race unfolds, feel really good. I get to probably mile like 40,
Hmm.
and it was just one of those things where like it's weird, but I usually hit a low around 40. Not sure why, but I do. And I was just like, my legs feel like a little like I shouldn't feel like this tired. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm 40 miles in. Like, let's also just like keep things in perspective. Like I'm not, whatever. Like it's still 40 miles. So
Right.
I kind of like worked through that, and it kind of went away. And then I would say things started to get hectic around like the 60s, but it was cool because early on I was having a lot of conversation with a lot of different people, friends that I knew from running that like lived in the city or in the area, and people that knew me have kind of known like some of the things I've done. So I think like some of those people were kind of like, oh yeah, like he'll be in contention. But like talking to other people, it was like, oh no, like that guy's gonna win. There's 5 people here that did Cocodona, and like you get in your own head where I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, maybe,
like
maybe. Yeah.
yeah, like who knows? I was like, listen, it's this, especially the last man format. Like I've been saying this, like I truly think you need like 320 marathon fitness. Need a 320 marathon fitness wise. Outside of that, you need volume, you need durability, you need, you
Hmm.
know, a system, and you need to like know yourself. But fitness wise, like that's all you need to win this. So like you can really like you really don't know who's gonna win this. And my favorite thing about running is like you can't see fitness. Like, the dad bod that rips like a 2:35 marathon, like you don't know. Like you have
Right.
no idea.
So
So it's
true.
it's it's something cool to like think about. But yeah, so conversation was cool. And right away there was kind of like these people that, also thought they were going to win the race, which always is fun because it makes things more competitive. And yeah, so then things started getting interesting. I would say around like in the 60s. So this was the Nick game was on. We got moved out of the bar now, so we're in the street. Like I have one of those zero gravity chairs, so I was just like laid up in that. I
Hmm.
would be handed food, eat something, get up. I was finishing every lap in like 45 to 50 minutes,
Hmm.
sometimes a little less. But I knew from my last man, like you need to conserve, you need to pace, you need to be smart because winning a lap will do nothing for you, but it
Right.
will burn you out. So even in Central Park, like very slight hills, but I would walk hills and like I had people like, why are you walking? And I'm like, because I want to win. Like
Yeah.
this is like a race that like this is the long game. This is not you don't get anything by getting in quicker. And even something I've noticed with people just along that race, like the longer you get in and the longer you sit, like if you're sitting for like 20, 25 minutes, sometimes you get stiffer, especially
Oh
later
yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So like keeping moving, especially walking, like it's not really doing much for like to you. So there's it's honestly an advantage. So yeah, so they moved us outside and then the Nick game came on and we were trying to come back into the street that the bar was on 7th Avenue and
Hmm.
40th. And they were like, you can't come in here. The cops started blocking off streets.
Oh my God.
So we had to run all the way over to 8th Ave, which added a couple minutes, but it was fine. And then finally we like pleaded with the cop. They let us in. And then like I went right to the race director. I was like, they're not letting us in. So this was like an interesting part in my mind because now I'm like, I've never dealt with this in a race, like that it could
Right.
possibly be shut down. So like in my head, like you're almost like giving yourself that out where it's like, I'm 60 something miles in, I'm tired, like, and I was like, this thing might get canceled. Like, hey, I had a decent day, whatever. There's like 20 of us left, whatever there's left. And it might just be what it is. And like it's like a bittersweet thing because like I didn't want it to end, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm tired. I could use this
Good.
break.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Like whatever. Like it's at least I didn't DNF.
If everybody
So
else is having to be done, then
right.
whatever.
That's what I'm saying. So then the next lap we went out and this lap was like an absolute disaster for me personally. So I went out. Now they're like, all right, we talked to the cops. If you go out 8th Avenue, they'll let you back in 8th Avenue, but you have to come in and out through there. Sure. So I go out 8th Avenue. A buddy comes out with me because it's city streets. We had Pacers, which was a really interesting thing. It's not common in Last Man. I've never heard of it outside of
Yeah, I
this
was gonna
race.
ask if you had Pacers.
Yeah. So yeah, I had one buddy ran like 40 miles with me. It was like a saving grace. Named Alex. Yeah, he was the best. Him and then just I have to mention Jake crewed me the whole time as well. I owe them a ton.
Shout out Jake and Alex.
Yeah, definitely. So I go out on 8th Ave, and then my stomach just flipped on me, and I had to use the bathroom. Now you're in New York City, like you have to buy something to use the bathroom in New York City. You
Yep.
can't just like walk in. So I
Hmm.
go to what I thought would be like the best case scenario, and it was a parking garage. And I'm like, sir, can I please use the bathroom? He's like, we don't have a bathroom. He's like, we use the hotel next door. And now I'm sweaty, like 60, 70 miles in. I'm like, they're never gonna let me in. So luckily I went to like the Carnegie Deli, which is on like 8th and 50th, 51st maybe. And I like talked to the kid at the front desk and it was a younger kid. And I was like, I got a good shot because it's a younger kid. If I tell him what I'm doing, maybe he'll let me in. And he
Yeah.
was like, you're not 70 miles in. And I show him my watch and he's like, oh shit. He's like, yeah, you could go to the bathroom. So he let me go to the bathroom.
That's
And
so
then
nice.
it was great. And then I ended up going up 8th and like different things were getting shut down as the race was going on because it was getting later in the night. Like there was a
Hmm.
section through Central Park that's a full grass area that we would run through and the gates closed there. So like when I got to, and I know
Oh
Central
my
Park, but
God.
I'm not. I know the loop of Central Park. I don't know ins and outs of Central Park.
Right.
So like now it's getting dark. I have my pacer ended up when I went to go do the bathroom thing. I was like, go find me wipes because if I can't get in a bathroom, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom in Central Park.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so so he was trying to find me wipes. So we didn't even reconnect after that. It was my buddy Jason, and now I am like running in the dark in Central Park in like inside Central Park, not the loop that I'm used to, and I'm trying to navigate through. It was kind of hectic. Ended up finding the checkpoint, and then I just like booked it back. And luckily, like I think we were like around 70 miles in, and my legs were like I don't want to say fine, but I could run like comfortably run like an 8 minute pace at this
Hmm.
time. And like
Hmm.
I was good. Like luckily, like my fitness is good right now. So like I knew I was in an okay spot if I had tough situations like going to the bathroom or having to make up time. Like I didn't want to do it too much because I'll cook myself, but I knew I had that kind of like in my back pocket. So made it back. They gave us a hard time about getting in again. Luckily I talked to, I guess, NYPD. The guys in the white shirts are lieutenants. Just a fact that I know. So they let us in after speaking to them. The regular police officers wouldn't let us in. So I guess that's who Vic and Austin, who are the race directors, which did a
Hmm.
phenomenal job. That's who they spoke to. So we get back inside, and then they're kind of like, all right, we need to figure out what's going on. We're going to take a 10-minute break. So now when we resume, everything's after it to get the full hour. Just say it's 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. We don't start till 8:10, and then the next lap is 9:10. So from now on, now we're 10
Okay.
minutes off. Because I had a lot of people ask me that too, like, why are you guys 10 minutes behind? And it's because of this brief intermission where they were trying to figure out what to do.
Right.
And honestly, they put on an incredible event, Austin and Vic. And it's like, if this was me as the race director, this race would have been over like so fast. Like once they started
like
closing out
like
streets, I'd
back
be
at
like,
mile 40 or back
we're
at mile
all going
60.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all going home, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
But these guys were like, the way they were able to like problem solve, which is what ultra running is, was incredible. So they're like, all right, we're just gonna run the block. Like you'll run on 40th Street between 7th and 8th, and it's whatever it is, point two, you're gonna do it until you hit 4.2. I'm like, all right, but how do we like calculate this? And they're like, whatever number you're at, you add 4.2 to it, and when you show us your watch, you show it when we start, you show it when we end, and that's how we're gonna do these laps until we can figure it out. They're
Wow.
like, the Knicks game is gonna end soon, so hopefully the bar clears out, streets open back up, and we figure it out. So we did that for probably 6 hours.
The
And
back and forth.
yeah, it was brutal in the beginning.
Oh my
So
god.
so this was a race where like out of the 33 hours, I would say I had 5 bad hours, which is like incredible
Yeah,
to
it's
have like
amazing.
so like that I was very fortunate in that. But when they mentioned that and like this all came about, like I'm very even keeled. I kind of go with the flow. I was getting a little frustrated. And then not at them, just at the situation. Like it's just
Mhm.
like I was like, I didn't sign up to run hill repeats, like basically like
Yeah,
point two
right.
hill repeats of like, yeah. So and it was funny. So from 8th to 7th was on like a slight incline. So I would just like run like 8:30 pace up and walk the point two back. And I would
Mhm.
still finish every lap in like 50 minutes. And I wasn't conserving because I was running faster. But at the same time, I was walking so much, it really wasn't affecting me. I had a couple issues with my stomach there. And I would just pop into random restaurants on that. There was a random Chinese restaurant on the street. I popped in there, used the bathroom a couple times, and then I was fine. And then I called my fiance and I kind of like was like, this is silly. Like I was just in a low. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
silly. Like I didn't sign up for this, like whatever. And one of my crew members was kind of like with me and like kind of like reassuring. He's like, yeah, this is dumb, like reassuring me. And I'm like, I was like now he's like, I probably shouldn't have said that, but like it was,
Yeah.
he's like, it felt silly. And like, he's like, I knew how you felt. So I spoke to her and she mentioned something that like, I'm a huge Chris Williamson fan. He says something that's like, what would you tomorrow want you today to do? And
Mhm.
like she meant it in like, if you stop right now, like of course, like she's proud of me, my family's proud of me, like it doesn't matter. But
Right.
like you tomorrow, like, are you gonna be pissed off? And
Right.
I was like kind of like, I don't care. And but like I care.
Yeah.
And like the more I thought through it, like I threw on music and something that I've done like just in general on like long runs and stuff, whenever I'm like hurting, like I've always found it good to encourage other people. So like I
Mhm.
threw on music and I was like literally giving high fives to everybody that was running back. So like we would run back and forth and see each other the whole time. So I was
Of
just like
course.
running around giving high fives and it was like it kind of completely turned my mood around and it turned like what was like the worst section for me into like one of the highlight of the races. And I was singing, it was phenomenal.
I love that.
It was great. And then the Knicks won and the city like exploded. Like
Yeah,
there were
of
fist
course.
fights in the middle of the street. It was crazy. And some of my friends have like great videos of all of this. But yeah, and it was just like hectic. And like now you have people leaving bars and they're like, what are you guys doing? So I had conversation, especially when I was walking. Like I told a bunch of people what we were doing. It was honestly entertaining for me. And that was something that I knew would be a part of this race is that like, no, I probably won't sleep because I'm in New York City. I'm in a loud, noisy bar, but
Mhm.
you will probably just be away from the other people in the city living their life, like having nothing to do with this race. Like it was just very
Right.
entertaining with FIFA and the Knicks. So yeah, which also brings me to I want to bring it up is a conversation I had earlier with some of the runners when we first started, where people were like, "Oh, I took off work on like Wednesday and Thursday," and I'm like, "For what?" And they're like, "For the race." I was like, "Listen, I do not know everything by any stretch of the imagination, but I've crewed a lot of these last mans, and I've had a lot of friends go far in these last mans.
Mhm.
Like to go 150 miles is like a lot. Like we went way further than I thought we would. Honestly, I thought this
Yeah.
race would end around like I would say anywhere from like 115 to 125 just from what I've seen with these races. Like it's so mentally draining to think about getting like hit by a car or dealing with
Mhm.
pedestrians. And now you're dealing with drunk people from the Nick game. Like I just knew that there was so much mentally taxing things going on that it would be very tough to kind of keep yourself in it moving for the duration that obviously we wanted to.
Totally.
But
And
I was
physically
definitely,
too, I imagine,
yeah,
like through Times Square. Even if you thrive in
yeah,
that environment, just walking through Times Square is like
yeah.
draining physically.
So It's funny. I early on, like my buddy kept saying to me, he's like, "Bro, just run in the street," and I was like, "No, no, no, you don't understand. Like it's pacing me. Like because I'll
Hmm.
hit like somewhere where I have to walk, and I'm like, it's making me stop." I was like, "I'm
Yep.
better off. I'm coming back too soon anyway." So he was like, "All right, if you want to." But yeah, so then we were doing the point twos, started feeling really good, and then they kind of came over to us and they're like, "We only have a little bit." The Knicks won, city like exploded, and they're like, "We're gonna try and get you guys back out in the city when they start opening things up. Like, let's vote on it. Like, do you want to?" Oh, sorry, big part I forgot. There was a shooting in Times Square, which we're on 40th and 7th. Times
It's
Square is
insane.
like 3 blocks over, 2 blocks over. So they ended up changing the route from Printer's Alley. So instead of the length of 7th and 8th Avenue,
Hmm.
they switched it from Printer's Alley to 8th Avenue. So now we're running like a point 12. So we did
Okay.
that for probably like a lap or two, and then they opened it back up to the point two, and it was weird because like it felt like so far now.
Yeah.
Um, but that was that, and then yeah, then everything kind of calmed down. The city kind of started to clear out a little bit, and they were like opening the NYPD was opening the barriers back up, and they were like, "We're going to put the checkpoint on Pier 57 on the West Side Highway. The only stipulation is you have to go down 40th Street, and then you could take the bike lane straight to Pier 57." And again, it's a 2.1 whatever it was, and then out and back.
Hmm.
And I was like, all right, cool. So at first they were like, we're gonna vote though. Do you want to stay here or you want to go there? And at first I was having a good time. So I was like, I want to stay here. And then I saw them on the next lap and I was like, I changed my vote. I want to go back out. And they
Yeah.
luckily they sent us back out. I don't even know if they listened to our votes because I spoke to some other people and they all said they voted for staying in the point two. So who knows? But they were making safety calls and again, like they did an incredible job with that. But yeah, so then we basically started doing that route. The first one was smooth. We did that until we did that for a couple laps. We dropped down to like 5 people left.
Hmm.
And then now obviously like you're kind of something I did poorly in my first last man was like I kind of made everybody competition like once it really dropped to like a smaller number, which like I had friends in the race. I made friends in the race. I'm always friendly. Outwardly, I would never project that I'm competing with you. It's just
Right.
not who I am. But
But it's also
inwardly, I'm
like
like,
natural to, I feel like, view them as
for sure.
competition. Yeah.
But inwardly, like I'm like, I need to beat this person. Like in my head, that's what
Yeah.
I did for the first one. In this one, I was like, this is not my A race. I want to have fun. Of course, I want to win. I always want to do well, but I just want to have fun.
Right.
And but again, naturally, you're kind of scouting out competition. And I knew like 2 people looked a lot stronger than the others remaining. And one was Thomas and one was and they both did an incredible job. But one thing I noticed is that they were running like basically the whole lap. At least every time I saw them, they were. And
Hmm.
something I seeing that, I was like, I need to really like bite down on the fact that like I need to pace then. If they're gonna run this whole thing and they might tire themselves out, again, I don't really know them. I don't know what they've done. So like you never know. And even though, like, even not that this was on ultra sign up, but like even if you stalk somebody's ultra sign up, like you still don't know what they've done like on their own. So
Right.
you really never know. So but that was something that I definitely told myself. I was like, because of that, like I need to lock in harder to really pace and be smart to conserve energy. So that's what I
Absolutely.
did. And then around 100, I think all 5 of us hit 100. And then maybe like a lap or two after, it dropped to the 3 of us, and it was exactly who I thought it would be. Um, and now my stomach started to randomly like just turn on me,
Oh no.
which is something that's interesting because like and I don't want to say everybody, but like I've heard it from a lot of people where like day one of these races compared to day two is like two different games. Like it's
Hmm.
just it's your nutrition could change, like your body, you didn't sleep. So like your digestion is definitely different than obviously it would be on a normal Saturday and then you wake up on Sunday. So it's something I learned the hard way. And I went to the bathroom on the West Side Highway and there is no bathroom on the West Side Highway. So just, when nature calls, like I had
We
no
we
choice.
spare we spare no details on this
Yeah.
podcast.
So luckily it was like 4 a.m. and then again at like 6 a.m. and it was the Knicks just won, so I think everyone was still sleeping. And then there was one time where I like broke into somewhere in like Chelsea Pierce, which is like that famous like pier with the gym and all like the
Yep.
uh all of that. Went to some random bathroom because at first I asked people like, "Hey, can I go to a bathroom here?" They're like, "No, no, no." And then this door happened to be open, and I was like, "Where does this lead?" And I found a bathroom. And then again, like something that really helped me was like, luckily, like, and now we're over 100 miles in. Like, I still had good legs, so I knew like go to the bathroom. Don't stress yourself out. Like, do what you have to
Mm-hmm.
do. And if you need to make up like 5 minutes of running a little faster than you would have, I have that still. So like, I was very, I was in a good place with that. And yeah, so that was kind of that. And then I think I like kind of just backed off on nutrition for a couple laps, which is always like risky in something like this because you kind of need it, but at the same like because you don't know how long it's gonna go. But at the same time, I'm like, if I'm just gonna keep going to the bathroom, like what good is it anyway?
Right. It's not doing
So
anything.
yeah, so there was a couple of laps where I definitely backed off on nutrition, but I stayed up on like electrolytes because then the heat started to come back. Yeah, so then it dropped to there was just the three of us for a few laps,
Mm-hmm.
and then again, like both looked strong, both were running the entire lap, and I would say when it dropped to like six of us is when we kind of started like we literally sat around each other at the top portion of the bar. We were back inside
Mm-hmm.
at this point. Once we went to Pier 57, we started going back. We could move our stuff back inside. So we were sitting around, we were kind of like joking, and I'm someone that like I'm gonna have fun. Like
Right.
I cannot sit here. Like I told them that I went to the bathroom on the West Side Highway. Like
Yeah.
I just like there's no reason not to have fun. Like we're all stuck in this. Like we all chose to do this,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if we want to do it in this moment or not. Like we're all here, and it was cool. And like from that and talking to people, like one of the dudes in the race ended up being from Monmouth County where I grew up. So it was like funny to have like the connection. I found out that Tom, the guy that ended up coming in second, was like a professional Ironman. And I'm
Oh my
like,
God, that's
guys,
so
it's
cool.
savage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The girl Anne it like is a mother and she's like she ran like an 18-hour first 100 miler. And I was like, these are yeah, like it was just
That's
like a
crazy.
bunch of savages. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool to like learn about people and kind of like share the like we're all in this together kind of thing. Like we can only continue and go as far as we're all willing to at this point. So then, yeah, I mean, I was very surprised, but the next person's job was Anne, and she looked strong to me. I still haven't even really spoken to her about why that happened, but yeah, that she dropped. I was super surprised because I honestly thought it was going to be me and her. I really didn't know enough about Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Now knowing Thomas, like, makes total sense. Um, but yeah, she had like an incredible race and like really talented runner. So she dropped, and then it was just me and Tom. I think for like 5 or 6 more laps. And at this point, like I started to be able to eat again. It was getting really hot, and like it wasn't really phasing me. Like I threw a shirt back on. I was putting like an ice bandana on my neck. Like I felt really, really good. Like to be on now, hearing it back, like speaking to my fiance, like the dude that paced me for 40 miles, you would have never known it, and he would have never said anything to me. He was like, might have been struggling a little more than I was. And again, like he's sleep deprived. He dealt with the craziness. He didn't have to like just focus on racing. Like he had all this other mental draining.
Right.
But like I found out that like he was going like I was kept asking him to come out there, and he did not want to go out there. And I didn't know that. Like I had to these are like behind the scenes things that I'm finding out now, which is fun. Like to me, he was just a warrior, and he was like, yeah, I didn't even know we ran 40 miles until the end. And yeah, he's a savage. I'm trying to get him to do his first 100 miler, and I think we got him. But
Yeah.
that's the best part. But yeah, so then it kind of dropped and it started getting hotter. And I just noticed that like I started to fall into my own routine. Like I would run from the bar or have a little bit of a walking start to that first block. And then I would run straight down 40th. I would get to the end of the street where I'm crossing over to the West Side Highway. I would
Mm-hmm.
walk that portion, maybe walk another block, and then I would run the bike lane until I hit Pier 57, scan, and then I would walk back to the end until I got back to the bike lane, run it back, and then that hill that I ran down, I would walk up every single time, and I was coming in like 48, 50 minutes every
So
single time.
smart. Smart
And
strategy.
it just like, and I just fell into a routine. And then also, what helped my stomach a lot was my buddy Justin, who's I'm sure people know him on Instagram, is Morning Coffee and TikTok. But he brought me Imodium, which was huge.
Oh my God,
It
that's
kind of
so
just
helpful.
makes you not go to the bathroom, which is exactly what I needed. And then I was able to eat again. Super helpful. He paced me for a couple laps on his bike, and just like having good conversation. He just raced the 50K the day before, and it's like the conversations like that where it's like these other people just like actually have been living life for the last 33 hours, not running a race. So it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
nice and refreshing to have conversation about like, oh, what's going on in the world? Like it definitely helped me. So then yeah, there were just like some signs. And again, this is not a race where you want to get ahead of yourself. Like, oh, he's hurting. Like, this is his last lap. Like, you don't want to play that game because you never know. Like, people turn
Right.
corners, people have lows. So I was trying not to get ahead of myself. But there was definitely a few laps towards the end where, like, Thomas's wife, who is also a savage, she was bringing him a lot of water. And then his buddy was bringing him a lot of water mid lap. and I just like it was something to pay attention to, but not get like too into.
Hmm.
And I knew like personally, like I do enjoy the heat. I don't know how heat acclimated I am right now, but I was doing really well in the heat. So that was something that I was like, okay, just something to pay attention to. And then I did notice that like the second to last lap, he was beating me back every time, which again, it's not like a race like that, but it's just,
Right.
you pay attention to patterns. And I noticed that the second to last lap, I beat him back. And I was like, huh, where is he? Like that was weird. And then before we went out for the last lap, I saw him get like a little emotional and have
Hmm.
like a little bit of a heart to heart with his wife. And again, it's like we're all in like I want to say like vulnerable states for lack of a
Yeah.
better term. Like
Yeah.
so I was like, this could just be any like I don't know, like it could be their kid's birthday tomorrow. Like I have no idea what this is about.
Right.
So I was trying not to think too much into it. And then again, he was like everybody was like great sports, but like he just kept saying, like, dude, you're a machine. He was saying it to Ann the whole time too. He's like, you're a beast, like whatever. And yeah, it was just like everybody was super nice, even though we were obviously like competing. But like that's the special thing in this race is like you need people willing to go far to go far. Like it's
Yep.
just it can't happen any other way because if you're by yourself, you win and it's over. And obviously we want that, but at the same time, like, I want to find my limit. Like I want to find out
Yeah.
like how far I could go.
Totally.
So yeah, so then that last lap, definitely noticed that, there's something shifted a little bit. Again, not trying to get too excited. And then I went out, and by the time I hit the checkpoint, my buddy called me that Thomas had came back early. Like
Oh
he
wow.
didn't finish that lap. He kind of like had an incident where I think he might have passed out like in a sidewalk, and his wife called him. It was like a whole thing.
Oh
So I was
my
like, "Is
god.
he okay?" They're like, "He's okay. He's back." But he didn't finish that lap. Um, so I got super emotional, uh, and just because like this was like 32 hours of my life, 33 hours of my life, I was like, wow, it's like it's so anticlimactic because like now it ends. Like that's it. Like
Right.
I just have to make it back 2 miles or 2.1 miles, whatever it is, and like that was it. So yeah, that was kind of that. I threw on headphones, took my shirt off, and started sprinting back. And then I was running like a 750 pace. And then when I realized I ran further enough that I could just walk the duration, I stopped running. I called my mother, and that was kind of my walk back. I called my mom, I called my friend Dan,
Oh.
and that was kind of that. And I would be, I have to mention my fiance came probably around like 1 o'clock. The race ended. She had like perfect timing. She had like maybe 2 laps with me. I was like, good for you. Like you
Yeah.
timed this
Yeah.
perfect. But that again, like that was such a highlight just to like see her and then like to know that like, obviously it was I think at that point there was only two left. But yeah, it was just like a highlight. A ton of friends came out. Like I can't even name everybody, honestly. Like it was really special. And prior to this race, I ran the perimeter back to back weekends. One weekend I met Justin who came, and the weekend before that I ran with a whole bunch of people. And some of those people from that run, three of those people from that run came, four of those people, sorry, came to the event. So it was just
Hmm.
so special where it's like I just met these people. One of them I knew, but most of them I just met. And like for you to like come and support and show up and like obviously like, it's a cool event to be a part of, but like I don't know, it meant a lot. And that's the stuff that like is that I'll remember. You know what I mean?
I love it. Oh my god, I just got chills. That's crazy. I can't even imagine though, like even having the walk back where you just recognize that you won, but like it doesn't feel real until you actually cross and like Thomas is tapped out and you are holding the bucket of like $1 bills.
Yeah.
it's it's so
Yeah, and
crazy.
it's so funny. Like there's videos of me right after the race, and like Thomas asked me like how far would you go, and I was like, he's like, how far do you plan on going? I was like, whatever it took, and like I do not remember like even thinking. Like I was so like just still in it
Mhm.
that like yeah, like things just came out, and then even like they kind of said like Austin announced like that I won, and like they handed me the bucket, and I was kind of like, what's the plan for next year? Like I was still
Yeah.
so in it. Like I
Yeah.
was just like just chill. But like it was yeah, it's so like I didn't know how to like process it honestly. So I think for me I was like still like almost in that like survival mode really.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that you said, what's the plan for next year after going through all of the things from stomach issues to the Knicks to the World Cup to the to the course
Yeah,
change,
like
everything is crazy. It's so
well,
it's
I've been
so
I've
cool.
been thinking about it a lot. Like if you told me like when they shut down the street and we started running the point two, like in that moment, if you told me like, hey, you're going to win this race, but you're not going to win it for another 10 hours or 12, whatever it ended up being, like 15 hours. I would have been like, I don't know if I even want to do that. Like,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
you don't think about it. You just take it one lap at a time, 1 mile at a time, and you do it. And like, it's just kind of
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah. That's so true. It's wild. Well, congratulations. That's incredible.
I appreciate
What
it.
time did you actually finish the race? So it was what time? It started 6 a.m. on Saturday,
Yes.
right? 6 a.m.
I think it
Saturday. What time
was
did you finish Sunday?
3 or 4 p.m. on Sunday.
Wow. That is a lot of
Yeah.
running, a lot
Which
of
the
time.
interesting though, because like if he could have turned that corner and like caught a little bit of a high and then the sun
Hmm.
goes down, like you truly, oh, I don't know. Like I really didn't think the race would go that long. And that's another thing where like people kind of go into this race with like a distance goal. Like if you want to win a last man standing, you have to just like, this is your entire life until this
Hmm.
thing is over. And
Yeah.
like this, the loop, whatever, the course, it owns you. And like you can't
Yeah.
get sucked in it that you're mentally like trained, but you need to like kind of give yourself to that knowing that like you can't get out of this. So like you might as
Right.
well enjoy it while you're here.
That's so true. That's such a good perspective to have too. How did you recover and how did you celebrate? Were you like,
Uh
I can't sleep when I run for that long. I mean, I have never run for that long. I've only
Not
done
yet.
the loopy loop.
Yeah.
Not yet is right. I like that. See, I'm already
Yeah.
inspired from this podcast. As I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I should do that. I should think about doing that. Um, Not yet is right, but I never sleep the night of. And I
Yeah,
like
I
as
don't
much as I want to celebrate, I can't because I'm so tired, but I also can't sleep. So what's your
yeah.
go-to?
Honestly, like the one thing that gets me sometimes will be like the sides of my hips will be on fire, so like laying's pretty uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So for that I struggled to sleep a little bit, but I think I fell asleep at like probably like an hour or two after we got home. And I slept until like 2 a.m. Probably slept again until like 4, and then I was up for the day. And
Hmm.
then it was definitely a couple days of sleeping to actually fully recover. I started running again on Thursday, and I haven't really stopped. But again, like that's something where like I'm not a smart man.
I mean, I'm the same way. I don't think I'm smart either. I think I ran like 3 days after my ultra, which I
Yeah,
probably shouldn't have. Again, you
it's
ran so much more than me, but I definitely should not have.
no, but it's still like it's all it's person specific. Like that was something too. Like after I ran New Jersey, I think I was running by Wednesday. Like we finished on Sunday, I was running by Wednesday. It was broken up, so it's a little different, and I did get some sleep in between.
Totally.
But I think like personally, like the best thing you could do is move, even if it's just walking after a race like that, because I've had the opposite where like my first 100 miler, which was the loopy looper, I exploded. But I walked like messed up for like a week. And same with like
Hmm.
my first marathon. And I think too, a lot of it's like psychological. It's physical to a degree, but a lot of it's psychological where you put this idea in your head of like, I'm not running for the next month. And like
Right.
you tend to like kind of hold on to that idea and believe it.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so, so
So
true.
yeah, I mean, if I have no injuries, I'll kind of try and get back to it relatively soon. I just know I had another race coming up, so I was kind of like looking to get back into it because I was starting up with a coach. But yeah, feel
Love
good.
it. Love it. Well, it's a perfect segue to kind of wrap this up. What do you have coming up next?
Yeah, I'm trying to build for Badwater.
Hmm.
Badwater 135 is in Death Valley. It's like people like obviously probably hear that and like, why would you want to do that? And I like the heat and I like the challenge of it, and I think like and I don't say this in an arrogant way at all. Like I've done the loopy looper. I came in second there for the 12 hour. Like I came in fourth for across Florida. Like I've had some success in this, and they've been smaller races.
Hmm.
So I think like it's kind of a test for me to like, like listen, there are people in this game that like will smoke me, and I know that. But I think that's also good. Like I think that's how you learn, and you kind of see where you fall, and it's the competition within myself. Like I know I have a 100 miler coming up September 25th. I'm running the Miami 100. December, I'm running the Daytona 100, just kind of building up hundreds. You need like 4 100 milers or 5 100 milers,
Hmm.
and one within the calendar year to do Badwater.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff I've done doesn't even count, which is hilarious. But
That's crazy.
only the Florida 200 counts. So I hope to add these like sanctioned ultras on my resume, and then kind of also tell them the unsanctioned stuff I've done, and hopefully I get in. But yeah, that's kind of what's next. I want to win the Miami 100.
We manifest on this podcast, so I think you're going to win it.
Yeah,
I know you're going to
thank
win it. based on everything you've said. Lastly, well, actually, two more questions. If you would like to, on this podcast, we always share running hot takes. Do you have any running hot takes that you want to share? Could be good, bad, whatever.
Running hot takes. I'm someone, I think I don't know if it's a hot take, but like, I do not spend money on running clothes, like at all. Like, I wear 5K t-shirts from like my first 5K. Like, my fiance makes fun of me. Like, these $1, I got like 3 of these $1 shirts. I will probably wear these until there's holes in them. Like, that's just what
Yeah.
I do. I spend money on the trips within running
Mm-hmm.
and shoes. And yeah, that's really it. That's
I
my
love
hot
it.
take. Is people, I know like Satisfies like a big crave where there's like holes in the shirts. I'm not spending $100
I
on a
know.
t-shirt that I'm going to take off anyway while I'm running.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Nobody's ever said that before, so I love it. And lastly, if you want to share, you don't have to share. Where can everybody follow you, run with you, find you,
Yeah.
all the things?
V Kennedy 18 on Instagram. I'm a huge Share Aura fan. I'm not sure if you know that app.
What's that?
I'll send it to you. It's
Yeah,
this
please.
dude Zach from New York City, which this is a great shout out. He created this app that is like competing with Strava, and the stuff that he has on it is like really cool. I post all of my runs that have stats on it are posted from that app.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I think I think I have the same username on that, or it might just be Vin Kennedy. And then the other unique thing is I'm part of like a ton of run clubs. Like there's Outlast Run Club in Hoboken. I actually started Run 732 down the Jersey Shore, which is now ran by my friend Lizanne, who crushes it.
That's
And
awesome.
then there's another one out of Hoboken called Vitalizer. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I will link all of those in the show notes for everybody to follow and check out. I have a big Jersey following, so everybody will
Yeah,
find a way
sure.
to connect with you somehow. This was so
Awesome.
awesome, Vin. Thank you for sharing everything that you shared with us today, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Go
the
win
time.
Miami 100.
Thank you. I'm excited to see what you got next.
Can't wait. All right, everyone. That was Vin Kennedy, and I hope you all enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. I love this one because it's about so much more than just running. It's about trusting yourself and embracing the unknown and realizing that confidence is truly built one challenge at a time. Vin has done some truly incredible things, but what stood out to me most was his willingness to keep learning and keep adapting and keep showing up even when things don't go according to plan, which we love talking about on this podcast. So, if you enjoyed this track, be sure to subscribe, leave it a rating, review wherever you're listening, and share this episode with someone who could use a little inspiration to chase a big goal of their own. If you want to keep up with the pod, at @the_Ali G Show on Instagram. And if you want to keep up with Vin and everything he's got coming up next, I will have his Instagram linked in the show notes below. And if any of the run clubs or communities we talked about throughout this episode caught your attention, I will link those in the show notes as well. And you can check them out and maybe even join in on a run. As always, thank you so much for listening and for supporting the Ali G Show. It truly means the world to me. Until next time, keep moving, keep challenging yourself, and I will catch you on the next track of the pod. Bye.